So the improvisational warm-up, use any soundtrack that is instrumental. Attached below is about 6 recommended sound scores that you can use. And it's just to help students to start moving and really connecting with their bodies. So when they're flat on the floor, it's getting them to notice what areas are touching the floor, what parts of the back is on the floor. And if you've got arches, you realise that this is lifted and that won't be touching the floor. So can they breathe into that area and take a deep breath? Breathe out. Can they sink further and further into the floor? So you can use the imagery of being in a beautiful sunny beach and you've got warm, hot sand that just surrounds your body. You leave an imprint on the floor. And just notice where the imprint is. When you start breathing and exhaling into the areas that you find gaps, what happens when they sink in? How does the imprint change? When you get them to start moving, they can start small. Just moving the hand, the head, side to side. Maybe they start lifting their hips, they can lift their feet. And just noticing when they're moving, what part is then touching the floor? How does that transfer of weight change? What imprint change? So what pattern are they now making? And then as they start to get bigger, they can start to move a little bit more, exploring all these different spaces that they have in their bodies. So how can they lay on their side and reach away? What if they lay on their belly? How can they move? Where's that imprint there? And then as they start gradually building and building, we're going to start thinking about the head and pelvis relationship. My head goes down, my pelvis goes up, and the other way around. You might even want to get them to try doing little handstands, so it can be really small. Just that transfer of weight, up and over, controlling it back down. So they're using their physical skills in this warm-up. And this warm-up is also very important for exploration. It's playful. Allow students to play. Allow them to see what their body can do. If my head goes down, where do I take that? How can I come up from that? And we start introducing the idea of the undulating movement. So how can my whole body start to undulate? And they've already learned part of the reps, so they've already got an idea. But rep 1 is very up, holds the body, but through the warm-up, we have these moments here, where they start exploring now. We have these moments here. So how can they explore the undulation with straight, angular lines? And that's what you want them to do, that's what you want to play with. And it's a really nice way to get them exploring movement, building up their confidence, and finding new ways that they can move that they might not have done before. They might find that when they start concentrating and zoning in on their bodies, and not the overall aesthetic look, but actually they've done something really wonderful. They might have been able to do a handstand. They might find that they're flipping over the shoulders whilst they're lifting the legs, and they might not have been able to do that before. But because they've like self-concentrated and they've got that focus inwards rather than outwards, they're able to do that. And it's a really lovely way for them to build their confidence, to move out of habitual patterns, to find new and intricate ways of moving. So then you let that build. They build up, build up, build up. When they get to standing, you're then thinking about part of the body leading. Is it the pelvis that leads the movement? Is it the arm that takes me across? How do I control my weight? How do I transfer my weight on my tripod? Do I control through the centre? Where is that going to lead? Can I add in these angular lines that can get me to travel and propel me through the space? And it's also going to open up spatial awareness, because there's going to be other people in the space doing the same improv warm-up, but doing their own thing. And it might be you can encourage students, if you take a glance, have a look, smile, it's okay. It's okay to smile at each other. Maybe can they find that moment of contact? What happens if they do the same movement as someone else? And that's going to help start building understanding of relationships. So when they come to component 2, choreography task, looking at the TED Talk, and they're doing solo material into trio material, they're going to have an idea of how they can make a connection. It can be through eye contact. It can be through mirroring or copying. It might even be they have a slight touch. So you can start putting in these kind of language, vocabulary. Okay, lead and follow. I just want you to follow this person as you're improvising. Okay, now just gently go back to yourselves. So you can spend time inwards, and then they can project outwards, but work with the students. If you know they're not quite there, then you carry on working with them individually. And the ones that are, you can introduce that, and then slowly they will all start to pick up and do it. And it's a really nice way. As Wayne McGregor says, misbehaving beautifully, and I really love that quote. It kind of implies that, you know what, it doesn't matter what the movement looks like necessarily, but how you explore it, how are you playing with it. Be playful, be explorational with your body and with your movements. Push beyond limitations. Build that self-confidence. And that's really going to help the students to explore movement in choreography tasks, in their performance. It's going to just drive them to do more. And that's really what's lovely about this. And this will help them with the component 2 task.